everyone. Welcome to the 46th episode of Growing Up Geek, the weekly podcast for geek entertainment and nostalgia. My name is Brad, also known as Oyster Cracker, and I am joined by my associate, Broccoli Rob.
Broccoli Rob?
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I can come
Evil
up with,
laugh
sorry.
for Halloween, by the way. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, by the time people hear this...
It's the future, yes.
Yeah, it's the future, and you are celebrating probably in your own merry way. So how are you doing out there?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, actually.
Yeah, I heard you made a pretty important purchase.
I made a purchase. It was...
We will give people a sneak peek mental download of what's coming up.
What's coming up next week. We will be reviewing, or at least giving our impressions on the much-anticipated Fallout 3.
That is correct.
And I just purchased this. I purchased the special edition.
Yeah.
It comes with lots of goodies we will talk about, and this was one of our most anticipated games of 2008, so I'm really excited to be playing this, and so we'll check that out.
Yeah.
What's going on in your life there, Brad?
Well, okay, everybody knows Halloween is about people handing out candy.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a weird guy in my neighborhood, and I haven't seen this, but a friend of mine was telling me at dinner there's a weird guy that drives, they described it as a beater van around our neighborhood and gives out candy and ice cream.
Okay.
And this friend's dad saw said man, and when her dad made eye contact, the guy went, "You want some ice cream?" So this sort of raised the question for me is, do you need some kind of ice cream man license?
That is a good question. I would think he would.
This is like the stereotypical predator is like white van, man hands out candy and treats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is an ice cream man? I mean, that's exactly what they are. So
right, and they even have music to attract all the children to them.
Right, it seems like the perfect pedophile, or well, maybe not, but the perfect
No, that's the word you're looking for.
Okay, but it seems like the perfect disguise. It's like, is there some sort of association of ice cream men?
The ice cream union.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, because we used to have ice cream man battles on our block growing up. There was the ice cream man, and then there was the snow cone man.
Oh yeah.
And they would. All of a sudden, mysteriously, the snow cone man disappeared, and the ice cream man had a louder, more happy tune play.
Yeah, and the association was pleased.
Yes, and the ice cream taste of blood.
Right. Yeah,
right.
And we ate well. Well, anything is better than Jason Flynn's ice cream man that had a "Will Work for Sex" shirt. Around the kids. I know. But and that's what got me thinking is okay, maybe there's nobody really watching the shop. I don't know. Maybe if any listeners can fill us in, I assume there's got to be some zoning or licensing or something. But apparently there's an unauthorized man in my neighborhood. So happy Halloween, everybody!
Yeah.
Please watch that candy. Make sure it's friendly.
There's weirdos and creeps and stuff like that.
So why don't we go ahead and jump right into the show here? Get
right.
into some geek news.
Whoa!
Each week we like to share our favorite stories. Rob, what was yours?
My favorite story, as we all know, the new Xbox Experience update.
Yes, the NXE.
Yeah, it comes out mid-November, and it's all ready to go, and everybody's really excited. But one of the biggest features has always been this Netflix merger, which increases the Xbox library a billion-fold.
Movie library.
Exactly. The exciting thing is, though, that now Netflix is officially premiering their Stream HD on Xbox. It's not going to be on their website yet.
Right.
This is pretty cool. People took a look at it. They checked out Heroes. This all courtesy of Engadget.
Yeah, I think the words they used were it looked stunning.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Which is, keep in mind, when something says HD, it's hard to actually pinpoint what they mean, because obviously the bit rate, how it's compressed and things like that, can affect it a lot. And
I mean, to stream HD is quite a feat. However, visually, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, the biggest difference you can note is when things are in motion, because then you'll start to see some de-interlacing going on or things like that.
Yeah, I like with things are in motion, because what else would be happening during the show? You hope things are in motion.
Yeah. But I
don't watch those other
shows. They may show you a still screenshot to be see, HD, yeah. But then as soon as it starts moving, you'll get that thing where it pixelates, it breaks up.
Yeah.
And even on stuff like Apple Apple's HD on iTunes, it's not going to be as good as a Blu-ray or as getting it from television. Like, so you got to keep your eyes on, keep your wits about you with this kind of stuff. But either way,
hey, it's a free feature.
Yeah, if I had a Netflix service, which I'm definitely considering getting, this is something awesome.
Yeah, I'm afraid my internet won't be able to sort of keep up. Like, my internet connection isn't very fast right now. But I am ultra excited about that. The embargoes just ended, which for people who don't know, in the video game industry, there's a lot of things that have embargoes on them. It can't be spoken about until a certain date is up. And that just expired for this. So everybody's talking about it, showing off screenshots, and it's making me really excited. The big thing that I've heard is that it is ultra fast and responsive.
Nice.
Like, there's a noticeable delay right now when you use the menus on the 360, and they said that with this, it's instant. Everything's popping up super fast. A very serious upgrade, and I'm sure we will be bringing some coverage.
Looking forward to it. All right, so what was your news for this week, Brad? Favorite story?
Favorite story this week, Sony ends certification or certification for the PS2. Many people know that the PS2 is the world's best-selling video game system of all time.
Yeah.
There are still games being made for it, and it's like 8 years after its launch, and some very odd ones, too. Here in America, or in Europe, they have a certification process, though, that you have to go through if you want a PS2 game to be developed, and Sony can reject your game and then push you back. They are officially ending that. What that means is that, according to this article, it is an open platform.
Jeez.
Just like the PC was. Do you remember Computer Shopper magazine? The back pages of some of the things available software-wise for the PC were fairly
He's
shady.
Talking about the pornographies.
Yeah, there's a rating above M, for those who don't know, and it's called AO, Adults Only. That rating pretty much you never see because it's really banned from stores.
Ayo.
But so people barely ever do that. But with this open platform, they're saying that might lead to more of that. Might lead to more Indian and Russian developers coming out with more games, and just could expand the life cycle of the PS2 even more. But I think it'd be kind of weird and yet funny if the last few years of the most successful gaming platform were spent in sort of hazy, like, Russian pornography titles, things. It's like the system that brought you Crash Bandicoot.
Various forms of Tetris.
Yes.
Ugh, gotta watch that off. Right. I mean, that's interesting. I think that, like, the thing that helped PlayStation 1 out so much was that they didn't have the lengthy certification process that Nintendo had.
Right.
They just started chucking out games like Turtle Eggs, and eventually, some of them made it to the water. Mm-hmm. The water being us. And to help you with the metaphor there.
Thank you.
You look at companies like Polyphony Digital, who made Gran Turismo, a huge title these days. Like, they were nobodies, and like, Nintendo wouldn't sign them. And even Rockstar, who is the king of so much these days, like Grand Theft Auto and things, they were a small company that got their start with PlayStation.
Right. Or look at id Software on the PC. They were nobodies before they made, Wolfenstein. Valve, right, is just a group of hackers and modders. And, some of my, in fact, most of our favorite companies have grown out of some form of, just sort of independent gaming. Maybe we're going to see some sweet Russian, Indian, hit title in the
if
the
anything,
last days,
it could lead to a full-on renaissance of the PS2, and
maybe
just,
there's a lot more on the horizon, so we'll have to see. But nobody can deny the PS2's success, and there it is. That is my favorite news story. If it's all right with you, why don't we jump into
it's all right
main...
with me.
There it is. Why don't we jump? Why don't we jump into our main topic of discussion this week, which is going to be a technology topic, and that is Windows 7, the official name of Microsoft's next operating system, the successor to Vista. And Vista, for better or for worse, the public perception is very bad. You were telling me a story.
Oh, yeah.
A quote you heard at your job.
I know. I was working there, and I have these guys come in, and they were just telling me, like, how I'm returning this product because it had Vista on it, and I wanted to make sure I could get XP. And they were just ripping on Vista. Just like, I wouldn't go near that thing with a 10-foot pole and stuff. And then he, like, leans in, and he's just like, what I tell people to do? I tell them that they need to upgrade. Yeah, Vista XP.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because that's not even an oh snap moment.
No.
That's okay, roll over, take a nap, drink some coffee.
Yeah, not
and then
the
think about it. Good point, indeed, sir.
Or is it a good point? I don't know.
I wouldn't say so. I mean, look, I use both Apple and Vista now, and you know what? They're both fine operating systems. And Vista has had a ton of patches, service packs. I mean,
you and I both use Vista, and we're fine with it. Like I said, public perception is that it's bad, and that has led, of course, to these ad wars between Apple and Microsoft. All the cash that Microsoft's pouring into trying to, get the name. They did the Mojave project to try to, fool people into thinking that it's a new OS, and then say, oh, it's Vista, and people go, oh, really? That's Vista? I mean, they're trying everything they can. This next version of Windows is a big deal for them because they're going to need to turn that perception around to positive, if at all possible.
Yeah.
This week, there was a Professional Developers Conference, or the PDC. Microsoft was there showing off Milestone 3. That is a pre-beta version of Windows 7. So what we're going to do here is just kind of go through some of the sort of main features, and then you can provide commentary.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff in 7 strikes me as Tweak UI, basically. So let's start off with, there's a new taskbar. It's a bit taller, it's more glass-like, and it's actually kind of like the OS X dock in Apple. So in other words, there's no more separation between the quick launch bar and the main taskbar. But as you mouse over these buttons, you'll get these nice little glass previews of the underlying window. Big feature for me that they said was a highly requested feature. You can finally move the taskbar buttons. I don't know if this is something for you, but at work I actually run a hack on my PC that allows me to sort of drag my taskbar buttons around.
Oh, yeah.
So how does all that strike you? That's the new taskbar.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I mean, it really seems like a merger of the Windows taskbar and the Apple dock.
Right.
Which is cool. I mean, like, having your icons at the bottom of the screen and just being able to access your programs quickly is very appealing to me. I mean, using an Apple, I've gotten used to that, and I can see where it's infinitely more desirable than having them all tucked away behind a menu that you open up,
Right.
I like also, just looking at this, how they do something that Apple does, but they have a little less restrictions on it, which is where they kind of have these folders that you click on it and it sort of opens up and you can see the content of the folder. Sometimes I just want to, I want like all my games in a button, all my music in a button, just so I have a clean looking desktop, but I also have an easy time finding what I'm looking for.
Right.
This looks really good. It looks like it's really versatile. The litmus test is always, if I put it in front of somebody who knows nothing, can they figure it out?
Right. It seems like they're trying to, give people as much control as possible. So let's look at the next feature here, which is voice activation. I thought you'd be interested in this. It has something called accelerators for Windows. It's a voice command supported utility that makes it easy for you to automate common tasks. And what they said is, like, for example, if you use your blogging software a lot or podcasting stuff, you can just go blog, and then your Windows 7 will pop up the blog or whatever. Being as you have a Prius that does this, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's kind of exciting, but being that I have a Prius that does this, I know what it can mess up.
Yeah. By the way, I have to tell everybody, Rob's car is awesome. Like sitting in that thing and just being like, Starbucks. And then the thing's like, yes, Michael.
All right, yeah. Well, no.
I'm sorry. I think that's awesome. The GPS, you're totally spoiled.
The funny thing is, like, me and my friends will sit in there and play around with the voice commands because it'll only recognize a handful, and just like I would every once in a while just say something like, den of fruity nitwits or something like that, and it'll every once in a while be like, searching for nearby U.S. government office, and I'm just like, oh,
wow, oh,
you just
it sounds like you're working for the Daily Show now or something.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I was surprised to see it actually did that. You just say whatever to it and see what it correlates that to. Okay. It's pretty fun, but
and this has always been like the holy grail. Wait till we get to voice activated stuff. Now, I just want to throw that at you. It seemed kind of awesome to me. I was a cynic in the past, but Star Trek, anybody just saying computer. Blog, I don't know.
Yeah, well, as long as it's one guy doing it, as long as the captain seriously is the only guy with the thing, because you're just going to have 100 people walking around just dictating credit card numbers to each other in Starbucks, and just, it leads to a lot of security problems and just a lot of just general social annoyances. I mean, I guess we have enough Bluetooth people walking around these days that we can probably manage this.
Yeah, and speaking of user interfaces, so let me move to the touch computing element of this, because you talked about this before, and I'm one of those guys, I don't want people touching my screen. I'm notorious. If people come near my screen, even like at work, when they're like, okay, you see this area here, I'm like,
yeah, me too.
Is it compelling to you, that this touch thing? Because they say that Windows 7 is actually fully, unlike what Apple's doing, it's fully touch compatible. The start menu comes up with your finger, you can open your pictures, you can pull them and drag them. Does that appeal to you still? Do you like the idea of touch? I mean, look at my mouse. If you look at my mouse, it is dirty. I hate to call myself out for this, but there is some serious indents where my fingers have been. I don't know if I want to subject my screen to that. What do you say?
I mean, the iPhone has done a pretty good job. If it shines bright enough, first of all, you won't notice fingerprints very well. Because just think the start button is going to get a ton of taps on it. So probably for the first time, you're going to have screen wear due to finger pushes.
Yeah, and it's another Star Trek situation. If you think about it, with voice plus touch, you've got the that whole thing.
Yeah, this is all just coming down to Star Trek, isn't it?
Yeah, one step closer to the next generation. And the last thing I want to go over is cloud computing. This is the new term that they threw around a lot. And at first, it's a little bit ambiguous, so I'll try to explain this as best I can. You and I, we're ready to have our OS online. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
And Microsoft is taking one step further towards that goal with Windows 7. And I think it's because they're noticing, people are they're storing more stuff online. They're storing their photos on Flickr. They got their Hotmail accounts. They got their Gmail accounts. They got their online banking. And so with Windows 7, they're also co-launching this service called, I don't want to mess this up, but Azure?
The blue.
Yeah, blue, basically. That will be the backbone system for this new, quote, cloud-based, end quote, computing strategy.
Yeah.
Things like your mail and your calendar and your photos and even your movie maker, which will sync to your choice, which I thought was pretty wild for Microsoft, your choice of online services. So you may be able to use Gmail, or you may be able to use Picasa or Flickr. They are on your desktop, but they sync to the cloud, or the internet, basically. How does that sound to you? What say you?
What say I? Well, obviously there needs to be a ton of security measures taken with this kind of thing. I would go so far as to say your computer or your operating system should be a USB dongle or a keychain, something like that. Even something wireless that you keep on you, like a 666 microchip. Yes, it's Halloween.
Implanted under my face.
No, but something like that, so that contains an encryption key on it, and so when you're receiving data from the cloud, it's all encrypted up in there, and then whenever you bring it down to your device decrypts it for you, and then you have it ready to go. I think that'd be the safest way to do it.
Yeah, so this is your idea of how it should go.
Yeah, I mean, this is just my idea, because security is a big deal when it comes to storing things, online. Just think of you used the Sidekick from T-Mobile a long time ago,
sure.
And that didn't store its photos on the phone. It stored them on T-Mobile's server, and
which I loved,
which was awesome. However, tons of celebrities got their photos hacked, and everybody would be like, here's
Vin Diesel in the shower all of a sudden.
That haunts my dreams.
It was in the cloud.
Yeah, if it was in the cloud, that's the thing, is that you want privacy, you want that still to be protected.
That's the great fear, I think, of anybody who's resistant to this is how will my data be safe?
Right. And so I feel like there has to be a hardware component. But other than that, I'm all for it, because it would be nice to just, move from unit to unit, or you buy new hardware and just boot it up and bam, everything is running, only this time a little faster,
Yeah. Overall, I'm looking forward to this. I think that this OS, is being shaped a little bit by the public, outcries and the sort of, what they've learned from their mistakes.
Very true. And if anything, I feel like it's the expectation maybe of failure that's going to make this look all the sweeter. They're going to be surprised by this, because they're going to be like, hey, this is doing what it should do and more.
Yeah. So that is our impressions of Windows 7. Yeah. We'll look forward to more coverage, and analysts are estimating 2009, sometime next year, will probably be playing with Windows 7 at least, if not using it.
Please, Microsoft, take my advice. Have only one SKU for this thing.
SKU. You are a corporate lackey.
Exactly. No Ultimate Edition, no Home Edition, no Business
and
Bill Gates signed edition. Just have one thing, and then at the opening menu say, what are you using this for? Because, serious, man, that was just...
real quick, Speaking of Bill Gates, he started a new company. It's called BGC3.
Wow.
I just have to ask you real quick, what do you think BGC3 stands for?
Big guns carrying C-3PO around.
There you go.
Carried by C-3PO.
Look for that technology to be hitting you real soon.
Yeah.
And before we close out our show, we always like to get a little bit nostalgic. And so why don't we real quick reminisce, if you would.
What it was like growing up, Geek.
Indeed. This week I saw a DVD box set that kind of shocked me. It was the 20th anniversary edition of Mystery Science Theater.
Woo.
I had no idea. 1988 that show premiered. And so I think that fully qualifies it for nostalgia. Real quick, what's so great about Mystery Science Theater? We have to pay homage to this amazing show, one of our favorites, my favorite television show.
Oh.
What is so great about Mystery Science Theater?
What is so great? It is what you and your friends do when you're stuck watching a bad movie on TV. You just start making fun of it and having a fun time with it. Keying into that really made Mystery Science Theater an appealing. And this wasn't just like hack novelty where it's like, oh, they make fun of it and it's funny. This was just like darn clever stuff that they would come up with.
Yeah, like you said, it's just like what you do, only way better. I have to say, to the people behind me at the screening I went to of The Happening, you are not Mystery Science Theater, sirs. These guys were good at what they did. The pinnacle of wit. I mean, the show to me has formed so much of what I find funny now. So quotable, so quotable. I have to ask you, real quick, favorite episode and then favorite quote. If you could.
Well, my favorite episode probably altogether is Deathstalker and the Warriors from Hell. Just watch that over and over again. And
it never gets old. I'm sorry.
It never gets old. It's a mildly entertaining movie in itself. Exactly. And then to have their commentary just makes it an easy thing to watch and just tons of fun. 80s kind of B-list Conan
Renaissance
ripoff.
Yeah,
it was just amazing. But I guess if you're looking for like a Mystery Science Theater quote, the first one that popped into my head was from The Incredible Melting Man, and it's Ajka.
Right, yeah. Ted Nelson, I think. The Incredible Melting Man goes into his kitchen, stares down at his sink, and literally just shouts, Ajka!
he burns himself or something, and then for the
it
rest
became
of
like
the movie, they use it as an expletive. They're just like, Ajka.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking you were going to say your Xbox Live from Prince of Space.
Prince of Space, yeah.
Which you have to at least drop that bomb.
All right, I'll drop this one. My favorite, the Phantom of Crankor is walking around, and he just goes, he captures some children and tells Prince of Space, he's like, now you come out. Otherwise, we're going to kill some different. Just like,
it was like an editing glitch.
Kill some different. Yeah, it cuts off right when he says like children.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna kill some different.
Yeah, it's like an editing mistake, but it makes kill some different, which is your Xbox Live quote. I concur with you. I think Deathstalker would have to be my favorite. Also, really like Space Mutiny. There's a scene where he shouts, "All right, we're gonna start making whoppets," But oh god, I don't know. Favorite quotes? There's just so many, and the thing is, if you quote that, there's nobody who's gonna necessarily know what you're talking about. So there's just endless amounts of obscure fun to be had. But that is Mystery Science Theater. We love you, Mystery Science Theater. And that got weird. Sorry.
We do love them.
Yeah, we can admit
love them.
Okay. And so I will definitely be checking out that box DVD. And still, if you can watch it, lots of YouTube clips. I was surprised. But anyway, that is gonna have to be it for this week's show. Thank you so much for listening. That is it. What do you say we kiss this one goodbye? I don't know what I'm doing.
All right,
help me.
Oh, goodbye.
All right.
I guess, are we supposed to?
Yeah, but
what do you say? Let's sing us out.
All right. Before we embarrass ourselves any further, thank you for listening. Once again, my name is Brad,
and I'm Jimmy Smits,
and we'll catch you next week.